is something we could all use a little more of these days. Thankfully, Dr. Jane Goodall, the pioneering and inspiring activist and primatologist, distilled her reasons for hope into 5 succinct notions that everyone can resonate with. 1 is the energy, commitment, and hard work of young people. 2 is the human brain. 3 is the resilience of nature. 4, the indomitable human spirit. And 5, the power of social media. I love Jane's attention to the resilience of nature. As a human, I like to see myself as a partner of nature as much as I can. This means not disturbing the natural world too much, trying to live with minimal waste, and taking time to admire everything from the plants on the ground to the birds up above. It pains me to see people acting in opposite manners, and I take that as my hope, that my actions can influence others to make better, low-waste decisions. I can see through composting and recycling that, given the correct processes and smart intervention by humans, nature can restore itself even with the giant footprint we create. It gives me hope that other people, like our politicians, also stand in defense of the natural world. Jane is enamored with hope. Having it, giving it, finding it. She sees it as the enduring concept that has gotten her where she is in life today. My definition of hope hinges upon trust in others and trust in the fact that people will do the right thing. I believe that without this piece, the full extent of one's hope would never be reached. Achieving a hope is not an individual accomplishment. It requires work from many. Perhaps a goal or objective could be reached by an individual, but a hope, in my mind, is much more broad. From a linguistic perspective, it is interesting to note that hope can be used as a verb as well as a noun. I prefer to focus on its nominal use. Hope is a state of things that can be lost, found, built, destroyed, grown, maintained, compounded over time, shared with others, and ultimately reached. Achieving one hope, though, demonstrates to us that it is possible to have even more lofty hopes, and thus we will never die without an unreached hope. Just 6 weeks ago, I defined hope to all of you as a pervasive feeling that nature will lead things to turn out for the best, no matter how bad they get. My conception of hope was grounded in simplicity, resilience, awareness, curiosity, and trust. I have since come to think that hope is something that can be possessed. Therefore, generally, it is the want or desire for a state to be reached. My previous definition relied on the fact that something would happen without any work put in by the person who has the hope, but I realized there must be work put into achieving our hopes. I will take this new definition and apply it to Jane's life, the most pivotal part of it, when she had the hope that she could go to Africa. Her hope was the want or desire for herself to go to Africa. The details behind the object of the hope are not so important. They're just noise. She shows us that once you've achieved one of your hopes, you can sprout 5, 10, even hundreds of new ones and start working on those. The action behind my hope for a lower waste world is that I will keep making the changes that I personally can, which means keeping up with composting in a city where that concept is quite foreign. I will also try to make these ideas of low waste more palatable to the people around me, showing how one easy action can demonstrate respect for nature, less smelly trash, and less full landfills. Jane emphasized the beauty and peacefulness in spending time alone. While I love spending time with friends, family, work colleagues, and classmates, I have come to realize lately that alone time is more valuable than I'd thought in restoring my sanity. Maybe I need to get away to the sparse human presence jungle in Gombe. In the way she communicates, she speaks slowly yet eloquently. She has a calm demeanor in her spoken word, one that I will try to use as a balance for my own tendency to race my brain in getting every single thought out before I forget what I'm going to say. Jane teaches us that respect is of utmost importance. She even attributes a lack of respect for nature as the prevailing cause of the current coronavirus pandemic, and I could not agree more. Fittingly, my initial definition of a just community is one in which everyone is respectful of each other. My friend Cassie works for an organization called Athletes Without Limits, which gives coaching to people of all ages who are affected by physical or mental afflictions and usually not provided opportunities in athletics. She told me a story of hope lost, then worked for, and found again through trust. A veteran, who was a victim of sexual assault by a male, had virtually lost her trust in men, and rightfully so, viewed them as out to get her. Through trusting Cassie and Cassie's genuine hope that she would improve as an athlete, she was able to expand that trust to the male coaches who had the same hopes for her. Though there is a long road to rebuilding trust and hope, through demonstrative work, it can be achieved. It is important to recognize that in order for my definition of a just community to be fully achieved, virtually everyone must adopt and stand by it, and consciously practice respect for others. Reasons for hope are everywhere you look, but sometimes far off into the future. So cheers to you, Jane, for blazing the path for all people to make a life out of studying and defending nature, for giving the sound advice to involve every individual in our path towards achieving a collective hope, and for working day in and day out to spread your message. My own 5 reasons for hope are trust in others, the ability to coexist with nature, the ability to fix things we want to change, our human ability to think critically, and finally, the predictability of life. I want to close this off with the notion that just because our lives do not look the same as Jane's, does not mean we cannot practice what she preaches in our own lives. I'll continue to reduce my waste and respect nature, and finally impart those values to those around me. I hope that in listening to this snapshot of my thoughts in this March 2021 time capsule of a podcast, that I'll be proud of the state I'm in, the reflections I made, and that I'll have continued to act upon what I'd promised to do.